Hey guys, it's Matthew here once again, and recently I have taken up the challenge of making a Static Strike character. Someone said, how about Static Strike? And I remembered I have a rat's nest with a 45% less duration on Static Strike enchant laying around that I thought maybe one day I'll do something with. And that day was a few days ago, so I rolled a Pathfinder to try and make a Static Strike character which abuses a fair amount of elemental damage as well as physical damage, so that I'll have some penetration from the Pathfinder on elemental, as well as some penetration from the tree in that general area, and hopefully just abuse some flasks and make a rather nice Static Strike character, because the Helm enchant is really quite game changing. Now, I have been playing Static Strike for at least a whole day or 2 days, leveled all the way through it, and eventually someone was suggesting Wildstrike, and I was thinking a bit about Wildstrike too. For the most part, I was committed to playing some sort of name lock or different types of skills on this character than the usual, and that led to actually trying Wildstrike out and resulting in essentially feeling better than Static Strike for almost every situation. I don't think my character scales area enough to really make use of Static Strike at its absolute peak, so I've committed fully to Wildstrike, and I've actually been having an absolute fucking blast playing this, because as you can see, the chains, the shatters, the attack speeds, it all feels really quite good. Once you get a high enough level of attack speed, high enough level of damage, some good chains, some high level Wildstrike action, a dying Sun Flask goes a long way too. Just everything comes together to make Wildstrike actually kinda nice, whereas previously I'd written it off, and I haven't actually tried it since it got buffed in Atlas, I do believe. So there was a slight buff to it, made some quality of life issues, basically just made it a more enjoyable skill. It does of course still name lock, and that is still a big problem, and as well, as you can see, for Atziri herself, I have to Cyclone, otherwise I'm going to be killing myself with the chain portion of Wildstrike. That said, I started to build this character as a pure phys sort of thing, with some conversion involved, mostly due to the skill itself, and so it ends up being something like 50-50 elemental to phys. But slowly throughout the past day, as I've been figuring out, it just kind of made no sense to not be full on elemental on this build and this character, so I have since converted it to 100% elemental. Now, as you can see here, this was a test for the physical portion of the skill. Turns out that the secondary effect, the chain lightning, is still partially physical. This is a phys reflect map, and you can see that sometimes when I just use the chain, that it would actually reflect damage back at me in physical form. If it was pure elemental, then it wouldn't reflect anything. So the test there was just to find out if I was doing physical damage on the secondary effects as well, and yeah, I'll go over how it actually works when I'm back in town, but essentially, yes, you are doing both phys and elemental if you're phys based on all of your attacks there. So you do want to scale general physical damage if you're going physical. If you're going elemental, it's really quite simple to build. You're just going elemental all the way on everything, and it's not too complicated. Did come across some pretty insane maps. This is the shaped tier 14 crypts I was running with all kinds of sextant mods and some crazy stuff going on in this map. Creeping Agony, apparently that's going the way of the dinosaur in tomorrow. So there will no longer be any Creeping Agony, and I rejoice for that because I absolutely hate it. But some of this map was pretty insane, and we did get a Gorge to run as well, which is a decent example of the current DPS of the build. While I do still have a little bit to work on and improve, I'm hopeful that I might be able to take down some Shapers or maybe some Guardians. Not too sure if it'll actually pull that off. At this stage I am skeptical, just hopeful, because I'm very much a melee character. I'm not too tanky yet. I was hoping to squeeze a lightning coil and some other goodies into the build. Have not yet done that, but I'm not even sure the DPS is there for the Guardians. That said, I don't actually give a shit. It has been very fun playing this character. It's been a really nice change of pace compared to the usual characters I play, or the usual skills I play, which are supposed to be tier 1 skills and no name locking involved. This has actually been really fun, really nice change of pace. It's a very pretty skill. It clears kinda well for the most part. It's not the best clear speed in the world, but it is pretty high up there on clear speed when you can build it appropriately. And it's just been very much fun to play, very satisfying to map with. So if it can't do Uber Eats, Shaper, or Guardians, I won't be too stressed. I'll still show you how I built this character and how you may want to build one of your own, but I really do hope it can do that. For the time being, I'll show you what's involved in the character so far. So throughout most of the video, you saw the Pathfinder at around level 80 to 85. By now we are level 88 and the build is coming together a lot more. In the past couple of levels I've respec'd a little bit and re-geared a little bit to be fully elemental. So what that means is my links essentially are no longer physical based and they're all pretty much just focusing on elemental, and so is my dagger. So previously I had a physical dagger that would then be scaled by a lot of my physical stuff. I still haven't respec'd a few of those nodes, and then you're focusing largely on the conversion of the skill to then give you extra elemental damage. So you still have something like a 50% phys to elemental split, and it's a successful enough amount of damage, but you need a really good physical dagger to get any further, and at 250 PDPS I just was not happy enough to sacrifice going elemental, because I do think going pure elemental will be much more damage, and so far it has been about another 10-15,000 tooltip increase. So I dropped Hatred, put on Wrath, and I'm also running Herald of Ice attached to Assassin's Mark and Curse on hit for power charges at the time being. So we're going Wrath and Herald of Ice for now, something like, what do we got, 89k tooltip, which doesn't entirely mean too much at this stage. Flasks buff it and all that, so does Totem, so does Val Haste, so does Blood Rage. There's lots of buffs going on and all that. But I won't go over every aspect of the character, I'll just show you what I've done so far. Wildstrike is attached to faster attacks, multi-strike, added cold, added lightning, and wed. I picked up some random 6-link chest for 80 chaos and tried to roll it myself with some greeds because I wanted some armor and evasion. Pretty standard gear all over the place. A really nice opal ring for elemental and lightning. What you're looking for is wed, crit multi, and this was my phys based ring, which I now have to replace. Face breakers as always, and a rat's nest that I bought for 1.5x. Wildstrike chains an additional 6 times. Now when you Wildstrike, it'll alternate between 3 different things: the freezing pulse, the flame surge, and the arc. It doesn't alternate in a row, it'll just pick randomly, so you can cast a lot of arcs in a row, but chances are it's something like 1 in 3. So it's a pretty nice enchant, but if you can get the Wildstrike 40% extra damage, I think that would be preferable. I just could not get it. That's basically all there is to the character so far. You scale fully elemental, you attack super fast. I have something like, I don't know, 10 attacks a second when we're fully buffed up, and you get a lot of procs, and we have some good penetration because of the Pathfinder tree here. 10% fully LE penetrated, and another 6% there, so that's 16% without any curses, and that's just what I've decided to stick to. There's also Nature's Adrenaline, Nature's Boon, and Master Alchemist, so you can squeeze a Vinctars into the build, and there's absolutely no reason not to put a Vinctars in this build, but I don't like using it if it's not necessary, and just yet it has not felt necessary, so I've gone with a Dying Sun, a Taste of Hate, a Diamond Flask, and a Zeri's Promise. Were I to put in a Vinctars, I'd probably drop maybe the Dying Sun. It's really not that crucial, it's more of just a quality of life bonus, and it's really quite nice to have. Maybe I'll drop Taste of Hate. I could drop any of these, ideally. None of them are too crucial, but this is a lot of my defense, so Taste of Hate may need to stay. If you don't have a 6th link and you want to build something like this, you're probably just dropping added lightning or maybe faster attacks. They're all kind of on par with each other, these 3. Wildstrike, Multi-Strike, and Wed are your staples. I think that's all I'll say for now. There will be probably another video, more of a guide, when I've figured out the build in its entirety. But for now, Wildstrike, actually pretty fun. If you want to try it out yourself, this is something like what I've built my character. An Inquisitor with full LE penetration might be better, but I wanted to play something rather smooth and fast and enjoyable, so I went with Pathfinder. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.